Coming up next to kick off the main card, we have Pat Sabatini taking on Diego Lopes. This is a very interesting one to me, Rick, because Lopez's odds have continued to move down, where he has gone from being a underdog, like an actual notable underdog, to it's about to be a pick 'em here, probably by the time the podcast releases. So he's at even odds right now versus Pat Sabatini, who's minus 120. Was the best odds I could find for him. Sabatini has one knockout to his name and 12 submissions on top of 5 decisions. Lopes, however, 8 knockouts, 12 subs, 2 decisions. I touched on it in our preview of the card, right at the top before we started talking about the prelims. People love Lopes right now. He's gaining some steam in the MMA community. He's gaining some steam, just some hype around him. He's a fun guy. I enjoy him as well. He is the jiu-jitsu coach at the Lobo MMA gym that I touched on in the Lupe Godinez preview. So he does some jiu-jitsu coaching for Lupe, for Costa, and also Alexa Grasso trains at that gym, the champion Alexa Grasso. So I find that to be pretty interesting. Rick, I also think that despite having a really strong jiu-jitsu background, I think that he's got a really nice striking advantage over Pat Sabatini, like really, really nice striking advantage. And I think that we're seeing that paired with the well-rounded version of his game with that jiu-jitsu kind of bring his odds back down to earth into this pick'em where it is tonight as we record this on Tuesday evening. What do you have to say about this fight? How do you feel about it? And give me some of your breakdown on it.
Yeah, so I mean, I think it's a Sabatini fight, right? Like it's gonna go, at least in my head, how pretty much every Sabatini fight goes, which is he is going to want to use his wrestling. I mean, he has championship caliber wrestling, arguably the best in the division, top up there with like the best in the world as far as UFC is concerned. I mean, he uses that Khabib leg lock once on the ground to elevate those feet so you don't have a base. His top control is unbelievable. And he's able to get you there in all sorts of different ways. We talked about Mark Madsen earlier with his Greco-Roman style, going for more single and double legs. He can do that, but he can also do trips. He can do pulls. He's got multiple different avenues to be able to get you to the ground. And then once he's there, you talked briefly about how Lopes has the striking advantage. Well, Sabatini on the feet isn't the best striker. He's not horrific, but he's not the best striker. On the ground, though, his ground and pound is unbelievable. He's able to get wrist control if you're along the fence, to be able to keep you down, be able to open up your face. And he uses it to be able to keep you there as well. When you try to start getting up, I mean, he punishes you to do that. And so that's where he's going to want to take the fight. On the feet, doesn't look great. He just got knocked out by one of my favorite fighters, sort of a cult fighter in Damon Jackson, where I love him. But not a good sign when you're going up against a guy in Lopes who can pretty much get it done any way he wants to. With 8 knockouts, 12 submissions to his name, he's got quite the repertoire as far as weapons at his disposal. And it's going to come down to whether or not he can get held down by Sabatini. And considering he's fought a somewhat similar fighter in Movsar Evloev, I think that he'll be able to pass that test. Because in that fight, Evloev tried every single round to just take Lopes down and hold him. And even then, on short notice, this debut he was still able to rally back in the 3rd round. And granted, he lost the fight via the first 2 rounds, lost the first 2 rounds, won the 3rd. But that showed me enough, as well as his BJJ and the threats he was able to pose on the ground in that fight, to be able to tell me that he can do something against Sabatini if it gets there. And if not, and if he's able to keep it on the feet, then he could end up knocking out Sabatini pretty early. Just like you said, though, it feels a little bit like a trap line, though. I don't like that this fight is as even as it is after 2 fights in the UFC for Lopes, but he's charismatic. He's a little weird. He's got odd tattoos on his chest, and he's got that 2005 My Chemical Romance grunge sort of look to him with the haircut. And so he's dynamic. People love him, and people love Sabatini. So you got 2 fan favorites in this fight, one growing and then one trying to establish himself at the top of the rankings. So should be an absolute banger of a fight. But who do you have officially with the fight?
Yeah, so pick and bet. I'm going to go with Diego Lopes here. I feel like he's got more methods to get there. I know that, like you said, it feels like a trap line. People are really betting this down. I wish we could have got in sooner on it. Probably should have tweeted it out when we knew it, but we will adjust and get better at that over time, of course. I just feel like with all the buzz around him, as well as the advantage that he's going to have on the feet against Sabatini, for the leadoff on the main card in MSG, this crowd's going to absolutely love him. I get the Sabatini's the American fighting in New York too, but this crowd's going to love Lopes, in my opinion. Once they see him, if they don't know, now they know. That's the wise words of Dana White. Who do you have?
Yeah. And I've got Lopes as well. I'm interested to see if Sabatini can add some layers to his striking and what that'll look like here. But I don't have enough faith in Sabatini to be able to do it to pass this test. So I'm going to go with Lopes for 0.75 units, so 3/4 of a unit at even money to win this fight. Both of us going with Lopes in this fight. We've got another absolute banger on the cards with Matt Frivola, steamroller Matt Frivola against the God of War, Benoit Saint Denis. We'll see you there.